The proud nation of Sardinia will be not used as a political tool in the ploys of a degenerate pope. House Torres has called a meeting in Sassari. Beyond anger at being played by the pope, a man he had thought he liked and thought he could work with to create a unified Italy. But after the betrayal that came from Rome, we will prepare for war. Mass conscription drive going across to all of Italy and Sardinia, as well as in North Africa. Many Italians are signing up for the Sardinian army, as Risorgimento is incredibly popular all across the region. The papers being spread all across our nation. Front page news is nothing but betrayal, and the false pope in Rome who has betrayed the Catholic citizens of Italy, not supporting a unified nation. We're taking Rome herself. Last time we burned it down, that was enough. We're gonna oust this false pope. All of mainland Italy will be ours. We'll force the pope to go into hiding in some dusty house in the middle of western North Africa. And Sardinia and the king made preparations for war of the pope, the betrayer of Rome. News has come to us of border raids all across our southern western African colonies, as the tribes there have started to unite to expel us from its shores. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. One of the last, if not the last, Papal Sardinian War. We've been fighting them for nigh on 600 years now. We're gonna win this too. They have all their army concentrated in Lazio. We'll send a command for our commanders in the west to push. We have engaged. We'll send Augusto Smeducci out to try and engage the Pope, because he's an admiral. Fuck, the War of the Congo! I forgot. Admiral calls in favor. Admiral Augusto Smeducci is very well connected in government, is using his influence to get himself a promotion. He's already an admiral. How much higher can you go? A grand admiral. Fine. Fine. We'll add another medal to your chest. Are you happy? After not receiving any reports for months, the fate of the expedition seems clear. However, a letter from Carcano Diaz Mard finally arrives this morning, confesses the only way to live was to come back. We didn't get to the source of the Nile. We're pushing north from Napoli. Our military is just much higher quality than theirs, and we outnumber them. We're on the doorstep of Rome now. All right, we're going to navally invade the coastline of the Congo. Aha! We're fighting the Pope! The Pope did finally engage us with his navy. Pope Francesco Solaro della Margherita, the traitor himself, has met in combat with Admiral Augusto Smeducci off the coast of Cagliari to sink his fucking fleet. No life raft for that man. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, now let's go navally invade. We're about to have a Sardinian movie made in 100 years. Saving Private Luigi. The starting scene is them landing on the beaches of Western Cameroon while getting shot at by spears. The convening of a second international did not go as planned. Besides being poorly organized, it seems that the socialist movement has shot with divisions. Chief among those was a split between the reformists and the revolutionists who have fallen out over a practical issue. More socialists getting angry at each other at the next international. Shocker. Rome has fallen. The last of the forces of the Pope and the Papal States are hiding in the hills surrounding the city. Mutual funds unlocked. Nice. We can start publicly trading a lot of goods. We'll work on the camera next. It'll be developed during the war to photograph the sinking of the Pope's fleet off of the shores of Cagliari in the siege of Rome. Early cameras were being tested. I'm sure the Congolese army doesn't really know how to deal with getting shore bombarded by the Sardinian navy. There we go. Push them back. After one of the major armies from Sardinia was finally sent south after the surrender of Rome, we pushed the tribesmen back into the jungles. And we won the war with the Papal States, taking Lazio, Apulia, Campania, the Canary Islands, and Inner Morocco, completely removing them from Italy. Besides, they have only a small little piece of Italy left. The rest is firmly under our control, including Rome herself. Look at the statistical difference. That's crazy. They don't even have guns, do they? Our son is Lorenzo Torres. He's very religious. He's a royalist with expensive tastes. Huh. They're such an interesting country in this timeline, though. You can't really paint them as really like that liberal or that right. I mean, they're radical in the sense that they have universal suffrage, so all their people can vote. Which, given Germany now, that's not the most uncommon thing in Europe. We wouldn't like it, but that in itself isn't a deal breaker. We just don't like it. In most other ways, they're fairly conservative. They view us as a potential friend in geopolitical affairs. You know what it is in the roleplay is that we're both like, we've proven ourselves to be a colonial power and a military power after beating the Papal States, pushing back the natives in the Congo. We've showed ourselves to have still a capable navy and to be useful to a country like Britain, which is trying to do what it did historically, right? Build a colonial empire. So this would be an alliance of convenience, nothing more. This would be both of us building colonial empires with each other and then probably one day just, you know, reevaluating. I'm sure the delegation that arrived in Sassari didn't just be like, alliance offer. They'd be like, listen, we have a long history, a very bad one in many ways, but you've proven capable and you clearly want to build colonies. You already have a nation. We could do each other a lot of good. We could do each other a lot of good. We will be accepting the alliance. An alliance of mutual interests and convenience will be signed in Sassari. And both the diplomat to Sardinia, leader of the delegation, Simon Torres himself. The treaty stipulates that the alliance will be primarily out of joint interests and primarily colonial ones, subject to rediscussion in the future. Their government is made up of liberals, the bureaucrats, business interests, professional interests, and the progressive liberals. We are fifth now. We've surpassed Nepal, the Maharashtra, France, and Japan. And we're catching up very quickly to the Americans. The Byzantines rivaled us! We were just friendly with them! Tiberius, no! We could have been friends! Byzantium's wanting to go to war with us. They're damaging relations. Fine! But remember, Tiberius, you chose this path, not us. We reconciled with you. You know who really set us on this path more than anyone else? Napoleon II. I think he's going to have a bit of a reconsideration in Sardinian history after this in the future. I think there will be a lot of History Channel documentaries about how he was actually a very good emperor of Sardinia in 200 years. Yes. All right. We will accept an alliance with the Shagatai. Content with a new state of affairs in Sardinia, Corsica, and unwilling to and unable to face the uncertainties of life that abroad offers, Matteo Gazzone has officially announced his retirement from political life. We'll honor his memory for political reasons. 140 munitions. All right, let's start preparing. We have an unprecedented moment here, and we need to be ready. The people cry out for a united Italy, and we will answer them. War of the Oyo for Chaganet's colonization rights. We'll fight in the northern front against Euroland. They are not nearly as powerful as they used to be. Our 3,000 men are just pushing back like the whole Congolese army down here. This is going to be featured in Saving Private Luigi 2, the sequel. Can we really not demand anything in this war? Sure. We'll also enter into a defensive pact with you. We can almost get a trade agreement with the British too. Let's start to increase our trade routes with them, then we'll be able to. Explosives from the Chagatai, why not? We're allies with them at this point. Steamers to the British. Wow, okay, we've been formally asked. Full time. Decline. Dirty socialists. Go back to Peter Lingman and tell him the Sardinians say no. Oh, we invented the camera. We took a picture of a bunch of angry Germans screaming in High German at the Sardinian king as they left the palace in Sassari. One of the first pictures ever reaching widespread adoption was that moment. Good, we navally invaded in the Congo. This war with them is really taking more than I expected, I'm gonna be honest. Pushing them back in North Africa. Wow, we can actually get oil now. We can start to make our companies publicly traded too. I forgot to do that. I'm gonna make it gradual. We'll start with a few and I'll go from there. We're gonna make we'll make all of our mines publicly traded. We'll make the steel mills publicly traded too. The rest we'll hold on to. And then we can also go for automatic irrigation. We have the engines for, actually. Let's use that on opium to make it even more lucrative. The interest in photographic arts throughout Sardinia and Corsica spawned many new artist movements experimenting with the technology. We'll capture the beauty of Sardinia. We are pushing back Eurybalans, for I think probably the 4th time now at this point. Quite a few. Castalla joined the Chagatai's market. And so did New Granada and Louisiana. Oh, wow. How the hell did they convince them to do that? Scandinavia and Lithuania are both in the French market. Argentina and Brazil are both in the German market. The Americans are in the French market. Quebec's in the French market. Japan's in the Chagatai's market. Well, let's see if we can do any of that too. Apparently everyone's making economic blocks. Let's see if we can compete. We'd have to give them an obligation. They really like us and we really like them. Despite taking the Suez Canal from them, I mean, they killed Napoleon, so I guess we're equal, right? They got their revenge, literally. They executed one of our greatest leaders and one of the greatest generals in human history, so I guess they kind of balanced the scales. They already have a trade agreement with the Germans. If we don't invite them to our our customs union, they're going to join the German one. And that might make them go even more politically radical, which we really can't have. They're a technocracy? State religion, Muslim technocracy Egypt, who also has traditionalism. So in a formal trip, after hearing of the giant economic blocks which have very rapidly formed in recent times to compete with each other, the primary ones being the French, Chagatai, and British economic blocks. In response, the economic advisors to the king, as well as a number of government officials, immediately suggested that we needed to find one of our own to stay competitive, as currently only Cuba is in our customs union. After putting out some feelers with some of our very good trade partners around the world, only one country gave any suggestion it might be interested in such an arrangement, which came from Cairo, a surprise to everyone in Sassari, and certainly the king, given our recent history with him. But in a formal meeting, the ambassadors of Sardinia spoke in Cairo with the man, where instead of, like many negotiations, simply giving the terms he wanted, we will see if that decision comes back to haunt us. We can't get Brazil in our market. They're in the British one and they won't switch to ours, unfortunately. As nice as that would be. I mean, there's no voting in the country. The king has absolute power, and all the people who advise him and implement his policy, they're all just a bunch of scientists and university-educated men. He's a meticulous, uncouth, experienced political operator and experienced diplomat. He's very capable. He just doesn't shower much. And there's a lot of shawarma in his beard, but, you know, he's very competent and very modern, so it's fine. All right, we have won the war against the Congo, and as such, we've been given colonization rights, meaning we'll expand our colonies there much quicker. Lorenzo Torres is older, fatter, and more religious. In summation. There's so much demand for artwork and music, it's kind of insane. We're even lower on wood. Really low on lead and dyes. We got a lot more coal, but we also need more coal. Way more textiles are needed, way more irons needed. What do we have a surplus of? We have a lot of silk, a lot of clippers that we don't need. A lot of engines. Fantastic. You know what we can do now? Make even more of our plantations irrigated. Not horrible. Our economy is growing overall, but we do have a lot more deficits to deal with. Our priorities for now don't change, though. We need everything we're working on. 200,000 Chagatai soldiers are currently just pushing through Upper Niger. In Rome, Franz Liszt completed his last symphonic poem. The music community doesn't know what to make of the composer's latest error. In the late years of his life, Liszt increasingly turned to sacred music and church music. His last tone poem, From the Cradle to the Grave, therefore differed from all predecessors. Liszt was inspired by a drawing by the Hungarian painter Milé Zichy. Large sections of the work do not require a powerful orchestra, especially the beginning sounds like chamber music. Many islands of sound are formed in which the musical material is poor, and solo passages are not uncommon, especially at the end of the movements. The harmonics used are also harbingers of times to come. During his lifelong, however, music critics rated the work as a mistake of an old man. I think it's time to survey the Suez. Given our good relations with the Egyptians, they'll probably even help us now. The conservatives have systemic corruption. The business interests also have systemic corruption. They're a little too close to the king and the government, I'd say. Jesus Christ, our investment pool is 20 million. Belligerent crowds have been getting increasingly provocative when confronting troops in Karsa, Sardinia, and North Sumatra. Hardliners in government are demanding tougher responses, while droves are calling for troops to stand down at the first hopeful step in de-escalation. A whiff of grape shot saved the day once, and it can be done again. I'm telling you, we need to show them strength. He wouldn't respond to this, though, would he? The right has won the election once again, about the same as last time. They had a little, like 0.4% less to the vote, but almost nothing. Conservatives are still staunchly in power with those who are voting. Given that they're all wealthy landowners, they're having a revolution in Albania right now. It's a perfect time to strike Lombardy. We have a bigger army and a bigger navy, and we are currently not the leader for unification. Let's go ahead and declare war on Lombardy to become the singular candidate to unify Italy. We'll send a diplomat to Milan. If they're willing to sign the paperwork supporting us as the unification leader, then we will have no issue. But if they say no, we'll have no choice to march our armies across the border. Are they not going to stand down? Brave! I mean, to be fair, if we succeed, they will no longer have a country, and King William Obertingi will not have a throne. Jesus. We're trying to advance to unify Italy, and the Chagatai general just immediately races across the border to engage the enemy. There we go. Simon Torres leading his men on the gates of Milan. William Obertingi himself is leading his men. Two monarchs will lead their own armies on the battlefield. Damn it, we can't get a fight with him. Costanzo Nada is incompetent. We need to face a real commander. Where is the king? Another king who claims to be able to rule all Italians. He won't even engage us in pitched battle. The Suez Canal. Let's begin construction. On the ruins. Our survey of the Suez Isthmus is complete. We have confirmed that it will be possible to reconstruct the canal linking the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. Shocking. And we won. After pushing the armies of the King of Lombardy back entirely to Verona, he handed his sword to King Simon Torres and signed the treaty, establishing Sardinia as the only nation that can unite the peoples of Italy. We'd have to fight Byzantium, Castalla, Ferrara province, France, Germany, Poland, and 100 little vassals that might be possible. We're not going to join your customs union? Absolutely not. That's a diplomatic insult. On the occasion of the opening of the Suez Canal, Giuseppe Verdi premiered his Egyptian-tinged opera Aida, with a slight delay. Aida is an opera in 4 acts by Giuseppe Verdi to an Italian libretto, Antonio Ghislanzoni, based on a scenario often attributed to the French Egyptologist Auguste Marietta. Although it has been argued that the scenario was actually written by the Themistocles Solera, Ismail Pasha, Khedive of Egypt, commissioned Verdi to write the opera, paying him 150,000 francs for the premiere, which was delayed. Aida met with great acclaim when it finally opened in Cairo. The costumes, accessories for the premiere were designed by Auguste Marietta, and he oversaw the design and construction of the sets, which were created in Paris and shipped to Cairo. Although Verdi did not attend the premiere, he was most dissatisfied with the fact the audience consisted of invited dignitaries, politicians, and critics, but no members of the general public. He therefore considered the Italian premiere, held in La Scala, Milan, and in which he was heavily involved at every stage, to be the real premiere, which I guess happened in the recently shelled and still partly burning Milan after the armies of Sardinia had marched through it. We have so many issues with rebels right now. Yeah, we're up to 11 million radicals. We're formally going to endorse wealth voting. We're gonna put an income limit on voting, not a land owning limit anymore. We'd probably also have issues with our current population, with land prices being exorbitantly high due to the fact that you can actually vote. So two birds, one stone. We appear to be reforming our country when in fact we're doing very little change to it, really. And we also will decrease land prices by not making it a requirement for voting rights. Production at the opium plantations is booming, and foreign demand for opium could hardly be higher. The English people of the British Republic have become so enamored with the stuff that it has all but become the national pastime. The seeds of the flower, seemingly innocuous, are in truth the seeds of the fall of empires. Men will fight bloody wars to sate their gluttony for opium. They will sell their own mothers for another taste, and we will be there to sell it to them. We got the British hooked on our opium. Let's go. In some of the recent meetings between the ambassadors of Britain and Sardinia's officials, as well as many English traders who have become much more active with trading with Sardinian markets, a common thing has started to occur, whereas the Sardinians partake in opium now and then as a light entree to the matter of politics and business. The English they were sharing it with did not have a similar view on the issue, to the point that many of the traders working with Sardinia and ambassadors have begun to become, we'll put it politely, obsessed. Beautiful. No Chinese opium war. We're the ones selling it to them in mass right now because we produce a lot of it. I mean, I'm sure China does too, but we don't have enough ourselves. We're using it in our military. For us, it's mainly a medical thing. We're using it in mass in our army. God damn it, we can't. We actually would make a profit with the British. Let's start to export it to them. And let's expand our opium plantations too. An influential faction within the military interest has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of voting. Themselves in favor of the law, they have, because all the wealthy officers want to vote. They have now resolved to form a separate political faction intended on passing it. No, we're not going to work with the radical liberals. The Accademia Nazionale della Scienza demands a museum. We locked early aviation as well. As one of the most powerful nations of the world, we have so far lacked any archaeological prestige. Therefore, the Accademia Nazionale della Scienza is asking for us to build an archaeological museum. Absolutely. Well, incident ID documents. That fits very well our secret police, slightly bunker mentality vibe from Simon Torres here. So we'll issue passports and ID documents for our citizens. We're catching up to the US, slowly but surely. The expedition commanded by Corradino Coletta has returned after years of travel. Future generations will benefit from its achievements. We brought back 3 oceanographic knowledge, 3 biological specimens, 2 fossils. Let's go. 1 astronomical object, technology on malaria prevention, and he's now an experienced naval commander. Fantastic. Can we send him out again? The real question. Let's remove our consumption taxes on tobacco and our consumption taxes on alcohol as well, which means we only need to get rid of one other tax, which is luxury furniture. The liberals are the most powerful group in our government right now, and they actually really like us. We're a man of the people. King was a very popular guy. The radical liberals hate him. The trade unionists hate him. The village interests hate him, which is surprising because we did a lot of reforms for them. The dirty socialists hate him. So do the other dirty socialists. No big difference. Agrarian populists don't like him. The anarchists absolutely hate him. And the independent socialists also hate him. You know, they say judge a man by his enemies. I gotta say I'm very, very happy with that. Our king is now 59 years old as well. He's aging like fine wine.